Hey, everybody. Hey, Layla. Layla says, I'm ready for true crime night. These kids gave me hell today. I need some relaxing. Shout out to Meowed for that super chat. Connie, keep doing what you do and doing it well. Thank you so much. Shout out to you for that super chat. Shout out to you, Meowed. Love Tuesday night true crime. Everyone, please hit the thumbs up for the goat. Connie, thank you, Butterfly. You know, they get mad about that goat word. I won't even say get mad. They just feel some type of way, whatever that way is. Let them feel it, honey. Hey, Tina Lane. Hey, Patrice. Hey, Jenny. Hey, Lori. Hey, Tina Bina. Hey, everybody. Hey, Lita. I saw you coming in. I saw everybody. Hey. So we do have a good update for one of our cases. At least I think it's a good update for one of the cases we've been following. Hey, OMW, rub that belly for me. Tell the baby outlaw we said, hey, y'all going to cruise around with me while I clean the F up. I love that energy. Doing it and doing it and doing it well. Hopefully, there won't be any yahoos acting out during this live. I don't think so. You know, it's not malarkey, but you never know. There's always going to be one or two. Also, no spoilers if you know any of the cases that are going on. Which honestly, tonight there's probably not. Maybe yeah, in the main story, there's not really spoilers. I don't think. And as always, I encourage you guys to speak amongst yourselves, make friends. I mean, you know, it's the internet, but I'm just saying. I know you guys have a lot of convos, and that's cool with me. So, hey, been doing laundry all day. Definitely need to relax. I hear you on that. All right. So I have been leaving Facebook on lately, but I am going to turn it off tonight and just have everybody join over on YouTube. So I'm going to put the link. If you go out of the live that you're currently on Facebook and you go down to the next post, it'll say, hey, I'm live, y'all. And there'll be a link. All you have to do is click it. It'll take you right where you need to be, right over here with all of us. So I am going to go ahead and end Facebook now that the link is up and you guys know how to get here. I love you, Facebook, but I've been trying the last couple weeks. I believe I left it up, and I just think it's better if I do it all in one spot. So yeah, I was testing it out for a few weeks, and I think I'm going to just continue to just go live. That way, I know certain people are on Facebook more, so they at least get the notification, hey, she's live, and then I give you guys the link. I think that works better. So, wow, what are you talking about? What's wow? I think that works better. So, if you're over on Facebook, please come join us over here on YouTube. There's a lot of fun over here in these comments, and you're missing out. So, I'm going to end Facebook now. Bye, Facebook. I will see you later for a little while if you don't come over and join when I do the malarkey around 11 o'clock. Bye. Right. If you are new or you don't know, usually on Tuesday nights, we do true crime at 9 p.m. Eastern, and we do about an hour and a half sometimes if we're really interested in what we're talking about, or if I have the time. And then around 11, I come back and do the malarkey. So if you're here for the true crime, thank you so much. We like the break, most of us that do the true crime. One, we're interested in true crime and we watch it anyway. And two, it gives us a good break from the malarkey and we get to talk about different things that are going on in the media, like in the news and things that are happening, maybe that I haven't seen that's happening in their area or vice versa. We usually learn about a lot of cases in here that we may not hear on mainstream media because you know how that goes. But I do want to share with you, if you guys don't remember the case that we talked about. Let's see if I can pull up this picture real quick. The NICU nurse that was charged, they had four babies that had fractures, and she was basically suspended, and then she was brought back, and then another four babies had this is her right here, another four babies got injured. Luckily they had, by the time the second set of babies, at least the main one that she got charged with, they had installed security cameras. So they had tightened down on who went in the NICU. And if you went in the NICU, you had to be scanned. That way they knew every person that went into the NICU. So she was charged, although there were 8 babies hurt, she was originally charged with just one child, where they were able to see her on that surveillance video actually hurting the child. And the child did have multiple fractures. Um, and the babies that were hurt had multiple fractures, or at least one fracture. But now, April 22nd, prosecutors have served 6 new indictments in this case. Aaron Stratman, RN, of malicious wounding, abusing a child to cause serious injury, and abusing a child with disregard for their life between 2022 and 2024, which I find interesting because they were not able, or they had not been able to, up until I guess now, those first 4 babies that were injured, they were not able to pin that on her. Although they highly suspected that it was her, they were not able to pin that on her. So by them saying 2022 to 2024, that gives those first 4 babies justice as well. So I find that great that they did that. I'm glad that they finally are, which we had talked about, the new, hopefully new charges, and that those babies would also get, um, Christine, she didn't, I would assume she did know, because everyone else knew. I mean, it was a big thing. That was part of the investigation, was into the first 4, that they would add more security and things like that. And they had new protocols. So she would have really had to been under a rock not to have known. Um, Also, the text messages, all of that. Oh no, she is, I believe, pleading not guilty, I believe. But she even had text messages between the boyfriend they introduced. If you missed this, there are true crimes on my page. I'll try to do a playlist. Well, I can't really do a playlist because it's kind of like me updating just at the beginning. But if you missed me covering this case the first time, there is a true crime Tuesday story on this case where it shows everything that happened, and what had happened to these babies, and what they were able to charge her with. So this is actually new. This just happened. I believe like 19 minutes ago it was posted on. That's how I found it. I was like, not going to even cover this.
Former NICU nurse faces 6 new charges of child abuse. Prosecutors also identified a 9th infant allegedly injured while in Aaron Stratman's care. The latest case dates back to 2022. Henrico reporter Sarah Shackles was in the courtroom today as Stratman learned of the new charges.
Yes, Aaron Stratman is now facing charges related to her treatment of 5 NICU babies during her time as a nurse at Henrico Doctors Hospital. And we've learned that one of those new babies is from 2022. Stratman appearing in Henrico Circuit Court again Tuesday morning, with families of the babies she's accused of harming also present. At the hearing, prosecutors announced they're serving Stratman with 6 new charges relating to 2 babies in 2024 and a new case involving a baby in 2022.
We have 9 babies that are identified in this
Another
matter.
one.
We have charges for, again, the 24 babies and for this 22 babies, and we continue to to say this again, that we are continuing to.
When she says 24 babies and 22 babies, she means the year. But see, I took that. I had not seen this video yet because, again, that was like 19 minutes ago whenever I saw the article that I saw. But I was thinking them saying 2022 to 2024. But I wasn't even thinking the 4 babies that they said they could not pinpoint who did it, because they said some people, even like the lab, that they would print off lab tickets and they would print it off, say, as me. Like if I was in the lab, I would print it off so it would come up as me. But Jessica, my coworker, would actually be the one who went into the NICU. So they weren't able to pin those 4 babies on anyone. So I did not realize when they said 2022, it was a new 9th child, which is so sad for those 4 babies in 2023 that are not getting justice yet. Hopefully that will come. But now there's a 9th child all the way back to 2022. I just don't understand why she was ever let back after the 4 babies in 2023.
Work on the families that were impacted in 2023.
There were 4 babies harmed in 2023.
Ugh.
Taylor says they learned of a 9th baby after family came forward, and an investigation showed injuries consistent with other babies hurt and linked to Stropman. Taylor did not report those injuries to Child Protective Services as it should have, and they're looking at ways to hold the hospital responsible.
There are circumstances where a corporate entity can be held criminally liable. It also would involve some type of management personnel that is also involved with that. So it's just a matter of trying to figure out where we are in the process and what that looks like.
Other new developments in court Tuesday, Stropman waived her right to a jury trial. Instead, her defense attorneys are requesting a 2-week bench trial that would begin next February, depending on when experts are available. She remains out on bond on house arrest. Stropman will be back here at Circuit Court to be arraigned on the new charges Wednesday morning. In Henrico, Sarah Shackles, 12 on your side.
That's just terrible. It's so terrible what she did, but I am glad they are continuing to add charges and to continue to investigate, and hopefully they will be able to charge her with all of the babies, all 9 of them, because 9 babies. And here's the thing, I understand that they did not know about the baby in 2022, but there were 4 babies in 2023, and she was one of the only people that happened to be around those all 4 of them. You see it, like, you could pretty much a hospital, even though they can't pinpoint on who did it, they can look at those shifts and be able to tell that, oh, well, Erin was at all 4 of these babies. She just happened to be on shift that day. I mean, come on. There couldn't be that many people that happen to be on the same exact shift as all 4 babies when they got hurt. Like, I just don't think that's possible. I don't think so. Meowed. Let me see. I don't know if we covered that before. Um, but I don't think so. Let me just check real quick for you. She's 26. I don't see, I looked it up, but, I don't see it right away. Let's see here. Here's something about her. Let's see. 26 of Chesterville County, Virginia. The officials have refused to say how many babies were abused. Let's see here. They did terminate her this time, but yeah, she was, I believe what we covered, that it said she was suspended with pay. Even, back when in 2024, she was still being paid when she was, suspended. That's crazy. So she was on paid administrative leave. Stropman was reportedly, this is something I had reported before, but Stropman was reportedly placed on paid administrative leave for a year, following the child abuse reports in the NICU in 2023, and was allowed to return in the fall of 2024. And this baby got hurt in November of 2024, the one she was charged with. Paid administrative leave for a year. That is insane. So you hurt 4 babies allegedly, or you're suspected of hurting 4 babies, and you get paid leave for a year? What? If you remember too, another weird part about this case was, no, I don't see that she has any children. If somebody finds different, please let me know. But no, I don't see that in here. It's like a report on who she is. But that blows my mind. And these people out here that are like hurt or trying to get disability, or they get hurt on the job or anything like that, they don't get administrative paid leave for a year. They have to fight for it to even get anything. I just can't. But yeah, well, another strange fact about this story is they were talking about how I don't know if it's because her and the boyfriend had text messages between them about the case or things that she had said to the boyfriend are in text message or being brought up in court. But one of her stipulations was that she can't see any children under the age of 18, like can't be around them or anything. And at one point, I believe they were fighting it, but I don't know if they have won or not, but they were fighting the fact that she was not allowed to see her boyfriend. Now, clearly she's 26, so I don't believe that her boyfriend's underage because clearly that would be a whole nother issue and a whole nother charge for her. Because some people were saying, well, if she has a stipulation about, being around children 18 years and below, maybe her, I was like, yeah, I don't think that's it. But yeah, there was a stipulation about she could not see her boyfriend and they were trying to get that lifted at one point. So I'm wondering if they just think that she's more of a flight risk with him. I don't know. That was another strange thing. Oh, I'm sure, Reese, that they'll be suing the hospital for the fact that they had 4 babies hurt. They suspend her on pay, put her off on, I'm sorry, not suspend her. They put her on paid administrative leave and then they bring her back. And as soon as she's brought back, these babies start getting hurt again and they can't pinpoint who did it in 2023. Are you out of your mind? Not only was she present during all 4 baby shifts that they allegedly got hurt, but then you suspend her or put her off work for a year. She comes back and then 4 more babies get hurt and you can't go ding ding. And I understand it's circumstantial evidence and there's no cameras like there are in the case from November of 2024 that she was originally charged with. But it's like, I just don't get that. Like circumstantial or not, come on. There still could be a no contact. I don't know. Maybe her boyfriend has kids, maybe. But I would think it would just be like he couldn't have the kids around her. I don't know. I just thought that was an interesting tidbit from the case. Like, I don't know. I thought that was weird. For sure. All right, let's see. I have been trying out. I gotta switch account real quick. I've been trying out a different way of doing true crime videos. So I do have another case that I wanted to share with you guys. That is an active case, ongoing case. It's the case of Tina Floyd, who had been missing. She'd been missing since November of 2024, which this case makes me wonder a lot of things. But let's see how this video goes here. I'm still working on of course, working on fine tuning. But yeah. So let's watch this case or let's watch this video. Okay. All right. And make sure you hit that X on the top right if you're in the chat and hit that thumbs up for me. I'd greatly appreciate it. But let's watch this video here. All right.
The quiet neighborhood of West Haven, Connecticut was about to be shaken to its core. It began with a simple phone call, a son's worry gnawing at him. Travis Hart hadn't heard from his mother, Tina Lloyd, in far too long. Weeks had turned into months. Silence. He decided to call the West Haven Police Department, requesting they check on her welfare at her home on Nashawena Avenue. Little did he know, this act of filial concern would unearth a nightmare. The afternoon of April 18, 2025, would forever be etched in the annals of West Haven's history. Officers responded to the call on Nashawena Avenue, a seemingly ordinary street veiled in an unsettling quiet. As they entered Tina Lloyd's home, an odor heavy and foul hit them. It was the stench of death. Their search led them to an upstairs bedroom. There, amidst the scattered belongings and dusty furniture, lay the unthinkable. 14 garbage bags, Each one bore the weight of a horrifying secret. Inside, the dismembered remains of 70-year-old Tina Lloyd. The officers, hardened by years on the force, were met with a scene that defied comprehension. The sheer brutality, the attempt to erase a life, hung heavy in the air. The passage of time had taken its toll, shrouding the exact cause of death in a macabre mystery. But the horror didn't end there. Evidence of a hastily abandoned cover-up pointed towards a sinister act: arson. Scattered throughout the room were cutting utensils, an electric chainsaw, paper, and the pungent aroma of lighter fluid. Someone had tried to burn the evidence, to erase the traces of their heinous crime. As investigators meticulously combed through the crime scene, a timeline began to emerge. Tina Lloyd had last been seen alive in November 2024. Her chilling disappearance remained a mystery until her son's welfare check, a haunting 5 months later. All eyes turned towards the family, specifically Tina's 27-year-old son, Theodore Lloyd, who lived with her. His brother Travis, who had initiated the welfare check, was quickly ruled out as a suspect. In the shadow of suspicion, the investigation zeroed in on Theodore Lloyd. His purchase history told a chilling tale. Receipts and surveillance footage from local stores revealed a trail of damning evidence. Plastic bags, cleaning supplies, and tools, all purchased in the weeks following Tina's disappearance. The evidence was mounting, painting a grim picture of a son's betrayal. On April 18, 2025, Theodore Lloyd was arrested. He was charged with attempted arson and an act to conceal criminal activity. But for the investigators, these charges were just the tip of the iceberg. They believed he held the key to unlocking the mystery of his mother's murder.
Now,
news of Tina Lloyd's gruesome death sent shockwaves through the quiet community of West Haven. Neighbors, who knew her as a kind and gentle woman, struggled to comprehend the darkness that had invaded their doorstep. The idyllic image of Nashawina Avenue was shattered, replaced by the flashing lights of police cars and the grim faces of investigators. Theodore Lloyd remains in custody, held on $1 million bond. His court date, a date circled in the calendars of many, is fast approaching. The eyes of West Haven, and indeed the nation, will be watching as the justice system takes its course. The evidence against him is substantial, but the question remains.
Right, Nick?
Will it be enough to secure a conviction? As the legal proceedings unfold, one question continues to haunt the investigation and the community. What were Tina Lloyd's final moments like? The advanced decomposition of her remains makes determining the exact cause of death a daunting task. Did she suffer? Was she aware of what was happening? These agonizing questions linger, casting a long shadow over the pursuit of justice. The horrific death of Tina Lloyd serves as a chilling reminder of the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface of any community. It is a stark and tragic tale of a life stolen too soon. As West Haven grapples with this tragedy, the healing process is only just beginning. The scars of this crime will likely remain for years to come, a somber reminder of the fragility of life and the importance of vigilance in safeguarding our communities.
Okay, so I'm using a new software where you put in the story and explain the story and put in basically your own script, and it does like a video maker thing. So I don't pick the music or anything. But yes, this is a true story. Again, I'm what is it? I'm dabbling in new things. I'm learning new things, you guys. But this is a story. It's a Connecticut mom's dismembered body was found in 14 trash bags, and police just arrested her son on an arson charge. Now, what's wild to me, this was on April 21st was when this story was published, right? The body of Tina Lloyd had decomposed so much that police had to require DNA to identify her. Okay. Is that the one on the couch, madams? where she like sunk into the couch, but that's wild 3 years. So a Connecticut woman's body was found dismembered and stored in more than a dozen trash bags when police showed up at her home in March. And now her son has been charged with attempted arson. Not arson, but attempted arson, even though there was things burnt, which blows my mind. Authorities showed up at the West Haven home for a welfare check on March 24th after Theodore Lloyd allegedly told police that his 70-year-old mother, Tina Lloyd, had been missing for 2 months. Now, that's another thing that throws me off too, because uh, when police searched the home, they noticed a smell and found 14 to 16 trash bags in an upstairs bedroom. Police identified the body parts to be Tina, who they said was so badly decomposed that they needed to use DNA to identify her. Throughout the house, police allegedly found indications that someone had tried to burn the home down. They also found cutting utensils and electric chainsaw at the home. Police added that they found plastic bags with evidence as well as receipts and surveillance from a local Walmart and Home Depot that showed Theodore allegedly leaving with the items they recovered. I have never seen anything like this in my 22 years in the police department. Which is one of the West Haven Police Department, Scott Allard said. He's a sergeant there. The cause of her death is still under investigation. So the son called it in, allegedly, and said that his mom had been missing for months. Come to find out, other family members said that they had not heard or spoke to her since November of 2024, I believe. That was in another news outlet or whatever. But I'm thinking, so she's been missing for all these months and nobody went to her home? Nobody went to her home and looked? So, and here's another thing. So they have the son buying trash bags and a chainsaw, doing all these things. And someone tried to burn the home down. And instead of charging him for, even if they just charged him for mishandling a corpse or whatever until they find out what her cause of death was, I'm shocked that the one thing they charged him with was attempted arson. So so you're saying, by saying that it's attempted arson, you are saying that he was in that home before law enforcement, and that he obviously, with the smell and everything, he had to know something was there for him to want to burn it down and cover it up. But you're not charging him with that yet? I just think that's strange. I think of all charges, attempted arson, and they do say that, more charges will be coming, but I don't know. Maybe they're waiting on the cause of death. But yeah, Tina, my daughter calls me every day. How could I? That's the thing. Like, and my thing is too, Tina, is like, if they think she's missing for all these months, hey, Karma, they think she's missing for all these months, and you don't look that, like, the part about not looking at her house if she's missing. Because obviously, unless they say they did look at their house, but you couldn't have, because obviously, if you looked, she was in trash bags upstairs, dismembered. Like, come on now. The Dylan Mallard case in Canada. He killed Tim Bosma over his truck on Fiji. And hold on. He was a serial killer. That is a great intro into the next case here that we're going to talk about, because this one is definitely also an ongoing case, something that we're definitely, in my opinion, going to be seeing more things come out. Hopefully not more things, hopefully when I say more things come out, I don't mean more victims or anything like that. I mean more evidence, more things like that. I don't want to put that out in the universe. But let's take a look at this. And this was a suggestion. I was actually going to do another case today. I need to know if you guys prefer me doing cases that have already happened and either, are unsolved, or, things in the past, or do you guys like that I do stories that are happening now? Let me know in the comments. Do you like recent or old cases? Not necessarily like old, but you get what I'm saying, like cases from the past, or do you guys like that I cover like ongoing new cases? Let me know. Let me know in the comments, please. And thank you so much for joining me for True Crime Tuesday. All right. Somebody suggested this case, and I'm glad that they did, because once I started looking into it, it's scary, actually.
A chill has settled over New England. It's not the lingering winter frost, but a fear that creeps in with the evening news. 7 bodies in 3 months. Whispers of a serial killer are growing louder. Is a predator stalking the quiet towns and bustling cities? Or is this a series of tragic coincidences? The discovery of the first body in early March 2025 set off alarm bells. A woman's body, later identified as Paige Fannin, was pulled from the Norwalk River in Connecticut. Fannin, 35, had vanished weeks earlier. As weeks passed, more bodies surfaced, scattered across Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Massachusetts. Each discovery added fuel to the fire of speculation. The news spread like wildfire, igniting fear and uncertainty. Residents, once accustomed to the tranquility of New England life, now looked over their shoulders, wondering if a killer walked among them. The thought sent shivers down their spines. Was this the beginning of another nightmare? A chilling echo of New England's dark past? The chilling discoveries began on March 6, 2025. That's when Paige Fannin's body was found in Norwalk, Connecticut. The discovery sent shockwaves through the community. Just days later, a gruesome find in Plymouth, Massachusetts added to the growing unease. The top half of a human skull was discovered, its identity still a mystery. As March progressed, so did the body count. On March 19th, a suitcase containing the remains of an unidentified woman was found near a cemetery in Groton, Connecticut. The woman, estimated to be between 40 and 60 years old, became another piece in a puzzle that seemed impossible to solve. On March 20th, the body of Denise Leary, a 59-year-old woman who had disappeared in September 2024, was found in a wooded area in New Haven, Connecticut. The trail of bodies continued into April. Michelle Romano, 56, who went missing in the fall of 2024, was found dead in a wooded area in Foster, Rhode Island on March 26. Her death was deemed suspicious. On April 9th, unidentified remains were found in Killingly, Connecticut. And on April 16th, the body of a man was pulled from the Woonasquatucket River in Providence, Rhode Island. Behind the headlines and the growing fear are the faces of the victims. These weren't just statistics. They were mothers, daughters, sisters, friends. Paige Fannin, the first victim discovered, was a beloved member of her community. Her disappearance had left a void that was now filled with grief and unanswered questions. Denise Leary, whose remains were found in New Haven, had been missing for months. Her family had clung to hope, but as time passed, that hope dwindled. Now, they were left to grapple with the devastating reality of her death. Michelle Romano, found dead in Rhode Island, was remembered by loved ones as a kind and gentle soul. Her suspicious death only deepened the mystery surrounding the string of bodies found across the region. The identities of the other victims remained unknown, their stories yet to be told. The string of discoveries has cast a pall over New England. The once familiar landscapes, from the rocky shores to the quaint towns, now seem different, tainted by an undercurrent of fear. The proximity of the discoveries, all within a few hours' drive of each other, has only heightened the anxiety. The unknown is often the most terrifying, and in this case, the unknown loomed large. Who were these victims? How did they die? And most importantly, was there a connection between their deaths? The questions hung heavy in the air, unanswered, fueling the flames of speculation and dread. Rumors and speculation spread like wildfire, fueled by social media and word of mouth. Theories ranged from the plausible to the outlandish, each adding to the sense of unease. The fear was palpable, a dark cloud hanging over the region. While the public grappled with fear and uncertainty, law enforcement agencies maintained a steady silence. Their message was clear. There was no evidence to suggest a serial killer was on the loose. The deaths, they insisted, were isolated incidents, unrelated tragedies. But their reassurances did little to quell the growing unease. The lack of information, the seemingly random nature of the discoveries, and the sheer number of bodies found in such a short period all pointed to a different narrative. The official silence only amplified the public's fears. Residents expressed frustration with the lack of transparency. They demanded answers, seeking reassurance that their safety was a priority. But the answers were slow to come, and the reassurances, when they did come, rung hollow in the face of mounting fear. For many in New England, the recent discoveries brought back chilling memories of the New Bedford Highway serial killer case. In the late 1980s, the region was gripped by terror as the bodies of young women, many of them struggling with addiction, began turning up along highways in and around New Bedford, Massachusetts. The case remained unsolved for years, leaving a scar on the community and serving as a stark reminder of the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface. The similarities between the current case and the New Bedford murders, though not definitive, were impossible to ignore. The echoes of the past resonated deeply with those who remembered the fear and uncertainty of that time. The current situation, though still developing, had reawakened old anxieties, reminding everyone that evil could strike anywhere, at any time. In the absence of concrete answers from authorities, the public turned to the digital world for information and a sense of community. Social media platforms became hotbeds of speculation, with amateur sleuths dissecting every detail of the case, sharing theories, and searching for connections. One Facebook group, New England SK, gained significant traction, attracting thousands of members eager to discuss the case and share their findings. While some dismissed the online chatter as baseless speculation, others believed that the collective power of the internet could help crack the case. The digital detectives scoured news reports, social media profiles, and online databases, searching for any shred of evidence that might connect the victims or provide clues about the killer's identity. They shared maps, timelines, and composite sketches, determined to piece together the puzzle that had so far eluded law enforcement. As the investigations continued, the central question remained: was a serial killer stalking the Northeast? Law enforcement agencies, while acknowledging the public's concerns, maintained their stance that there was no evidence to support that theory. But for many, the lack of a definitive answer only fueled their suspicions. The geographic proximity of the discoveries, the seemingly random nature of the victims, and the fact that several of the cases involved missing persons all contributed to the sense of unease. And while authorities worked tirelessly to piece together the puzzle, the public was left to grapple with the uncertainty. The lack of answers weighed heavily on the minds of New England residents. They yearned for a resolution, for an arrest that would bring closure and a sense of justice. But for now, they were left to wait, to hope, and to live with the unsettling possibility that a killer walked among them. As the investigations into the 7 bodies continued, a sense of unease lingered in the air. The lack of concrete answers and the chilling possibility of a serial killer on the loose left residents on edge. In the face of uncertainty, law enforcement urged the public to remain vigilant. They advised people to be aware of their surroundings, to avoid walking alone at night, and to report any suspicious activity. They stressed the importance of personal safety and encouraged residents to take precautions. The message was clear. While the investigation was ongoing, it was up to each individual to prioritize their safety and to be proactive in protecting themselves and their loved ones. The shadow of fear might have fallen over New England, but so too had a renewed sense of community and a shared determination to face the unknown together.
Welcome to True Crime Tuesday with your host, me, Feminine and Fierce. Tonight we talk about the remains that have been found in New England over the past few months. Coincidence or serial killer on the loose?
Okay, so yeah, that part. So these are some of, because of course the police are saying, although in this, I don't know why, it just reminds me of the Gilgo Beach and how they started finding remains like over a period of time, and they just found more and more and more. They're basically saying that they're not connected. Now, I do know that there was, excuse me, there was another body pulled on April 16th and another body pulled on April 20th. Both of those have not been they're in the same area, but both of those have been they say there's no foul play. They were not like they had just succumbed to their, their destiny. That's how I'll say it. So if you see those two, they were both pulled from water, and I think one was Pawtucket. I think that was on the 20th, I believe, or 16th. I don't know, but the 16th and 20th. One of them was Pawtucket. Those two are not considered the same. They were not remains or anything like that. So, yeah, it's 7 now. Yeah, Nick, but some people are trying to add these other two because they're in that vicinity, but they are not related. So I just wanted to put that out. But 7 of them, you see the dates here and where. Let me hide this comment real quick. But you see the dates here, March 6th, 19th, 21st, 25th, April 9th, and April 10th. So that's when they have found these different remains. And some of them have been just like the one I think was a skull. So these are some of the articles, some of the things that they've been putting out with the news. So let's watch these together.
Check it out.
In the last 2 months, 7 bodies have been found around New England. And while law enforcement is not connecting the cases, people online have other ideas. Boston 25 News reporter Bob Ward joins us live in Brockton. Bob, the talk is getting loud enough for police to address these rumors.
Rachel, more and more people online are paying attention to this. They are concerned that some or all of these cases might be connected and that a serial killer might be striking in New England.
In some corners of social media, like Facebook, the idea that a serial killer could be on the prowl in New England is getting more popular. This Facebook group, New England SK, has nearly 9,000 members. And in other forums, people are posting their concern that some or all of the bodies recently found in New England might be connected to each other. Since the beginning of March, 7 bodies have turned up in Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Massachusetts. Some of the bodies are unidentified remains. The bodies discovered in Groton and Killingly, Connecticut, are close to a Rhode Island case. So far, law enforcement is not connecting the cases. However, the talk online has grown so loud that recently Groton, Connecticut police issued a statement that said in part, regarding references circulating on social media about incidents in the state of Rhode Island, we currently have no information connecting those events to any of the incidents in Groton. Here in Massachusetts, the discovery of a human skull in Plymouth and another set of remains in Framingham is also being looked at. In the late 1980s, a serial killer struck the New Bedford area. 9 women murdered, 2 missing. Author Maureen Boyle covered the case at the time and wrote a book about it. She is skeptical that a new serial killer might be at work right now.
Just because you have bodies found in a variety of places in New England, that does not mean that there's a serial killer on the loose in the area.
Boyle is concerned that online speculation can hurt people.
This is not a game. These involve real people. These involve real families. This is serious business.
I checked on the 2 Massachusetts cases. On that body that was found in Framingham recently, the district attorney's office is saying a case is under investigation, but it does not appear that person was a victim of foul play. Now, as for the remains of the human skull that was found in the woods of Plymouth, the Plymouth County DA's office says that case remains under investigation.
End in the search for a missing Warwick woman. I'm Mike Montecalvo.
And I'm Shannon Heggie. Officials have identified the human remains found in Foster last week as 56-year-old Michelle Romano.
Her family first reported her missing over the summer, and now the investigation continues into how she died. Lauren Brill joins us now with what we know so far.
Well, it's unclear how Michelle Romano died, but police believe her death is suspicious. Now, we're working to learn more information, but officials have told us that her last known address is here on Hazard Avenue in Warwick. Days after investigators discovered the body of a woman in Foster, officials have released her identity. Rhode Island State Police have identified the remains as 56-year-old Michelle Romano. Our cameras captured police on Plainfield Pike late last Wednesday, continuing their investigation the next day. Officials had part of the wooded area blocked off, collecting evidence and searching the area with canines. State police tell us Romano was first reported missing to Warwick police by a family member back in August. Her last known address was on Hazard Avenue. Now Warwick and State Police, along with the Attorney General's office, are investigating. Now, Rhode Island State Police are asking anyone with information that could help their investigation to contact their tip line. We have that number over on WPRI.com.
On a disturbing discovery in Killington, Connecticut. That's right over the Rhode Island line.
We're talking about the third confirmed case of human remains discovered relatively close to one another. Tonight, team's Sam Reed is live in Connecticut at the State Police Barracks with more. Sam?
Dan Patrice, Connecticut State Police tell me this investigation actually started yesterday afternoon when human remains were discovered along Woodward Street. All day Thursday, residents near Woodward Street in Killingly watched as they say investigators combed a wooded area near the dead-end road. State police confirming tonight around 4:30 Wednesday afternoon, human remains were found in the area.
I've lived here, like I said, 15 years here, over 20 years in the town, nothing like this.
The Eastern District Major Crimes Unit and
so
dozens
too?
of law enforcement officers blocked off the potential crime scene. The remains have not yet been identified or the cause of death.
I think it's something weird that happened like that with a homeless.
Others thinking otherwise. This marks the third case of human remains found in recent weeks, all within a 30-mile radius of one another.
It's crazy. I didn't know it was this close. I had heard about some of the other ones from friends, and honestly, I was hoping that it was just one of those crazy myths that you hear about.
A little more than 2 weeks ago, along Plainfield Pike in Foster, Rhode Island, just 10 miles from tonight's scene, the remains of Michelle Romano were found on the side of the road. She went missing out of Warwick. Rhode Island State Police are calling her death suspicious. They're now asking for the public's help to look at things like trail and dash cameras, as well as drones.
It definitely seems a little too coincidental. It seems like I don't know, your just mind goes to right to that it's got to be a pattern.
About 3 weeks ago, unidentified remains were found outside of a cemetery in Groton, Connecticut. That, too, at last check, is still an active investigation. With the news of all three cases in recent headlines, some residents are uneasy.
I mean, it is kind of scary when you think about it, but I think we'll be safe.
With investigators on scene in Killingly for what residents say was nearly 24 hours, the timetable alone may raise red flags.
I would hope that maybe they were here that long because they were making sure that they were dotting their I's, crossing their T's, stuff like that.
Now, there is no confirmation that any of these cases are related. We are expected to receive more information from police regarding their investigations in coming days.
Happening now, Rhode Island State Police continue to search a home in the Oakland Beach section of Warwick.
Where the woman found dead in Foster may have gone missing from in August. NBC 10's Molly Levine live in Warwick, where authorities have been all day, but aren't saying much tonight, Molly.
Yes, VT.
That's exactly right. Gene and Patrice, State Police remaining tight-lipped tonight about the investigation, but you can see they're still going in and out of the home behind me on Hazard Avenue, trying to pin down what exactly happened to Michelle Romano.
True crime.
Very shocking.
Seems to be the sentiment from most residents and neighbors as investigators continue to search this home at 112 Hazard Avenue, the last known address of 56-year-old Michelle Romano.
I heard it yesterday on the news that they found the remains in Foster.
Her remains discovered in a vacant lot along Route 14 in Foster last week. Investigators are now working to figure out how they got there and who's responsible.
What people could be capable of, you never know.
Tonight we're learning more about Michelle. A director at West Bay RI tells me she once worked here for about 10 years until around 2005. West Bay RI provides support and services to individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities across Rhode Island. Michelle's family says they're still processing the news, asking for privacy and prayers. But they launched a Facebook page after she went missing, desperately trying to find her. Friends and colleagues leaving comments saying they'll never forget Michelle. Close neighbors didn't want to comment on the situation, but Bruce Martell, who belongs to the nearby boat club, says all of this is unusual for the normally quiet Oakland Beach neighborhood and hopes the family gets justice for Michelle.
Being so close down here to the boat club, it was just very shocking when I came down here yesterday. I saw all the police cars and everything, but very unusual. Whatever information that you would have, try to help out in the investigation.
Yeah, anyone with information should contact Rhode Island State Police. And I did try reaching out to them for an update on the investigation. They can't comment on it.
Recently found what may be a human skull in the woods of Plymouth. And now these families are left waiting to find out if it could be their loved one that was located. Boston 25 News reporter Bob Ward is live in Plymouth. Bob, you've covered both of these cases for years. You can only imagine what a painful time this is for those families.
That could be the other remains.
Carrie, it really is a brutal time for both of these families. Now they're hearing about the discovery of a human skull in the woods here along Route 3. And for both families, they're just holding their breath. Sandra Crispo of Hanson, Brittany McCormick of Hanover, two South Shore women who vanished without a trace years ago. Their cases back in the spotlight.
They're saying no,
OMW. A human skull was recovered in early March in woods off Route 3 in Plymouth. According to police reports, a man found the small, discolored and jawless skull on March 6th while looking for deer antler. Late last week, law enforcement returned to the woods looking for more evidence. Has anyone in law enforcement talked to you about this?
I haven't talked to anybody.
Lena McMahon is the daughter of Sandra Crispo. She disappeared from her home in Hanson 5 years ago. Do you think this could be your mother?
I'm not sure, Bob. Obviously, anytime remains are discovered, the scenario runs through your mind, the what ifs, could it be? I'm not sure. I mean, I'm always hopeful for resolution one day, and we just have to maintain positivity and keep the faith that she will be found.
It's very overwhelming. It's still a lot to process.
Summer McCormick is the sister of Brittany McCormick.
Yeah,
she was last seen on July 6, 2021, visiting her mother's house. Police have searched for Brittany. Her family now offering thousands of dollars in reward money, but there's no sign of Brittany. News of the skull's discovery bringing mixed emotion.
I do, hopefully have my fingers crossed. It's not the greatest feeling in the world. I've came to the conclusion that it is most likely a definite possibility that I'm probably never going to see my sister again. But it also, I still have hope. I really hope that my mom ends up with closure.
Well, the skull that was found here in the woods of Plymouth have been sent out for hopefully identification as well. Now, we have some information about those new rewards that are being offered in the McCormick case. We have that up on our website at boston25news.com.
She was 7 months pregnant when she was attacked by the Connecticut River Valley.
Okay, so this lady lives in Connecticut. I guess she is from Connecticut. And she warns people because the police are saying that these are not connected, that there's not a serial killer. One agency that just found some remains even said that the other agencies are not reaching out to them about the cases. Nothing like that. They're not, I guess maybe they're not discussing things about the cases and manners of death, if they even know that at this point. I'm not sure. But this woman actually survived a serial killer's attempt, and this is Connecticut, and it's still unsolved. They don't even know who did this. So she had a few words to talk about, this case.
Serial killer. She was stabbed 27 times and miraculously lived to tell about it. It happened in Swansea, New Hampshire in 1988, and it happened after 7 women were found stabbed to death in the same area. All were victims of the same man, and Jane is believed to be his only survivor. She now hosts the podcast Invisible Tears, and she is here with me now live. First of all, my goodness, Jane, I'm so glad that you're here with me, and I cannot believe that you survived 27 stab wounds. I want to ask you about that in a moment, but first, what are your thoughts about the story I presented with 7 sets of remains and officials saying nothing to see here?
I find it suspicious. For first, I came across it online about a month ago, and then I started doing some research, and I'm like, this is awful suspicious. It just didn't sound right that they weren't connected, and the law enforcement was just so adamant about, all these cases not being suspicious. It just didn't sound right to me.
You have such a stake in a story like this, and I want to ask you, what is the responsibility here between law enforcement not creating panic and yet law enforcement making sure that people like you and I are safe when we're out and about?
I think if they come forward and are honest that there may be some suspicious activity going on, I don't think that's going to spread panic. But what I think it will do is make people more vigilant. like, make sure they do the buddy system when they're going jogging or going for walks, or letting somebody know where they are at all times. I think it's about keeping yourself safe. And so as far as them saying, well, they're afraid to, spread fear, I think the opposite. I think they should be letting people know that, you need to be, more aware of your surroundings and be safe.
Yeah, and they should talk to you because, my God, your attack, 27 stab wounds at the hand of the Connecticut River Valley serial killer, and it is still unsolved, Jane. I didn't realize that. That person is still out there. Actually, let me ask you, do you think that person is still out there, or do you think that person may be dead by now?
I don't know. Supposedly I'm the last one that he attacked. I'm the only survivor. And I don't know if he's still around, if maybe he's incarcerated, or maybe he's dead, or I don't know. I don't know if he's still around or not.
I've been putting up two of these images. To me, they look very different. Is there one of these two images that looks more like the man that you remember, or how is your memory after such a horrifying attack?
The one on the left is the actual composite that I did. The one on the right is something totally different. But the one on the left is definitely the composite that I did.
Yeah, because the one on the right looks completely different. The hairline looks different. Everything looks different. Maybe it was the police trying to suggest maybe this is what he looks like if he's got a wig or glasses on. But can I ask you, how on earth did you survive 27 stab wounds?
I was pregnant. I was 7 months pregnant. And I truly believe I survived because of my daughter. My daughter wanted to live. Wow. So it gave me the strength to live. I was 22 years old, 7 months pregnant. I went to a fair, county fair in Swansea, New Hampshire. Heading home, I decided to stop at a store that was closed to get a soda out of a soda machine. And evil stepped into my life, pretty much. While I was sitting in my car, this vehicle pulled in and parked beside me. And he came to my car door and tried to pull me out of my car. I fought, resisted, screamed, and he eventually took a knife out. And so I got out of the car, and he held the knife up against my neck.
Yeah, she was pregnant.
He was kind of confusing.
7 months. 7
he
months.
Kind of mentioned that I beat up his girlfriend, which absolutely didn't happen. And
lovely.
Mentioned that my car was a Massachusetts car. I had Massachusetts plates, which it didn't. I had New Hampshire plates. And he kind of walked away from me back to his vehicle.
She gave him attitude.
And when we were in the car and I was fighting him off me so I wouldn't go with him, I had kicked my windshield and shattered my windshield.
They said earlier.
So when he started walking away from me and walking to his vehicle, I was like, hey, what about my windshield? I thought he confused me with somebody else. I had no idea that he was going to do with what he was going to do. And so the next thing I know, he came back around to me. Before I knew it, he put the knife up against my neck again. And I saw a vehicle coming down the road. So I knew in my mind, the only way I was going to get out of that situation was to run to the road and scream. So I ran to the road, and the car drove by. And the next thing I know, he had tackled me down on the ground from behind. And I was on my back on the ground, and he got on top of me and proceeded to stab me. He stabbed me 27 times. I ended up having, he sliced my jugular.
It's unsolved, true
in my neck. I had 2 collapsed lungs. He lacerated my liver, sliced a tendon in my my thumb and a tendon in my knee. Do I think all these cases are connected? Maybe not, but it's unusual to have so many remains and so many bodies coming up in such a short amount of time. There's an enormous amount of missing people. So do I think that there's probably going to be more bodies found or more remains found? Absolutely. Who wouldn't think that? But my big thing is I don't want people to dismiss this or forget about it, because if the more it's talked about, then the authorities have more of a reason to investigate, but don't dismiss what's going on. And another thing I wanted to do and why I did it was so people would be more vigilant, especially women if they're jogging, down trails, or they're walking down trails, or, use the buddy system. Be more vigilant with your surroundings.
Oh, I mean, her story. So she is saying that she thinks that the cops should be telling people, hey, you need to be doing, at least be more vigilant. Think about your surroundings. Like she said, the buddy system, things like that. She said, they're making it sound like these are, this, like they have nothing to worry about. But I just feel like when you have that many remains popping up, I don't see why people wouldn't want to at least, I don't know. I think it's for them to say that there is no connection or they don't believe it's a serial killer. I just feel like at least say, we don't know at this point. It could be, it may not be, who knows? I just think ruling that out is not a good thing at this point. Let's see. Pull that map back up here real quick. But yeah, so three of the women have been identified by their remains, but they still have not identified the others, which I don't know if they'll be able to or not. Let's see. I'm trying to pull up that map that I had. I don't know why it's making it hard for me to find it. But what do you guys think? The copycats are here though. I can stand. Well, here's the thing. So, as far as being a copycat, I'm glad you said that, because here's the thing. What I was trying to do is find some type of link that links these women together, or they don't even, to me, they don't all look alike. I mean, they do seem to be all older. The one girl, Paige, she was the youngest, I believe, and she was 35 when she went missing. The other women, I think one was 54 and one was 59. So, and they don't look, to me, they don't look alike. They don't, I mean, they are, I think, I don't know if all three that, have been identified were mothers or not, but I was just trying to think of like, what is it, just, happenstance? Like, is it just coincidence that these women just happen to be in the wrong place at the wrong time or something? I mean, usually there's some type of pattern, and maybe that's why police are ruling that out. Obviously, none of them are in the industry, if you know what I mean. Like the Gilgo Beach, they all seem to be in the same call, call girl industry, escort type stuff is how I will say it. And these women were not in that industry. So, um, I don't know. They might have something in common. Well, that's what they're all women. They do have that in common, yes. But yeah, Karma. So that's what I was looking at. Is there something that connects them, or, anything. I was trying to find anything between them that would say, "Hey, okay, this makes sense," But let me see, where's that at? Hold on 1 second. I think it's a cop that went mad and not really related. Maybe. A lot of people were thinking maybe it's somebody like has an inside thing. And if anybody saw the Gone Girl documentary about the Gilgo Beach, if you like documentaries, you like true crime, it's definitely one to check out. If anybody saw that documentary about the remains that were found on the beach, they had like an internal struggle between, what was it? It was these two men that had an internal struggle. I think it was like the prosecutor and the DA or something. One of them was trying to say it was a serial killer. The other one was saying that it was not related. They were not the same because of the way, like the last, I believe, 3 bodies were found, or 4 bodies. I'm sorry. The last 4 bodies were all found relatively in the same vicinity, like marked out, and they were all wrapped in burlap, and the other remains were not like that. So he was saying, like, this is not a serial killer. What it happened to be just a man who was evolving over time and learning, basically, sadly, learning how to be better at what he was doing. And so he evolved over time, and that's why things look different. But they were having like a political thing. You watched it, Karma. So is that what's happening here? Is it some kind of where they don't want to say it's a serial killer? They don't. My thing is, again, to rule that out. If they would say, hey, we have, this is fresh, this is an ongoing investigation, but they are coming out and saying, like, these are not connected immediately. That was my thing. If they came out and said, hey, we just found this, like, it's been, we're still investigating, we're still figuring it out, that would be one thing, I feel like. But saying these are not connected, and the fact that the agent, like the cops in one town, were saying, like, oh, well, these cases aren't connected. No agencies have reached out to us. We haven't reached out to any other agencies. And that was one of the things that, you know, they have in the past, back in the day, serial killers and stuff, they weren't sharing their information. So that's why they didn't figure out a lot of things. I don't know why they wouldn't. You do? Yeah, Karma. I'm just wondering, like, what is the deal? So the remains were found in 4 towns in Connecticut, 1 town in Massachusetts, and 1 town in Rhode Island, all within a couple of hours of each other and on the Atlantic coast. As the nation of a possible serial killer floats across social media among web sleuths, some investigating agencies have dismissed that theory. 2 of the women connected to the case disappeared in the fall. Here's what we know. So March 6th in Norwalk, Connecticut, that's when Paige was found. Paige is 35. She was recovered by the scuba team and fire rescue on March 6th. Norwalk police were assisting authorities in nearby Wilton, Connecticut search for another missing person whenever they found her, which that's interesting also. I don't know what, as far as that other missing person, I'm not sure the case surrounding that as well, either. They were looking for Paige, a resident of Long Island, and she was seen in their jurisdiction on March 5th, a day after she was reported missing in New York. So she was actually reported missing from New York. She was seen in Long Island, and then her remains they find her remains on March 6th. So authorities located clothing and personal items left on the bank of the Norwalk River before eventually discovering her. On March 19th, an unnamed female between the ages of 40 and 60 recovered a body inside a suitcase near a cemetery. State police told the outlet they do not believe there's any information suggesting a connection to the discovery of other remains. The police chief said people don't rush to judgment. Groton is 80 miles east of Norwalk, so they're 80 miles difference. On March 6th, also in Plymouth, Massachusetts, an unnamed, no information on gender or age, just the fact that human remains were found by a hunter in a wooded area in Plymouth, about 108 miles east of Groton and 178 miles east of Norwich. The hunter initially thought the remains belonged to an animal before realizing it was not consistent with the shape of animal bones. It was the bone of that was the skull. So they did not release any information on age or gender with that victim. Then on March 20th in New Haven, that's when Denise was found. She was 59. And they reported discovering her in a wooded area near a home and the New Haven police announced on Twitter at that time. They were in an advanced state of decomposition. And then on March 25th, they did confirm that it was her. She had been missing since September. New Haven is about 156 miles west of Plymouth and about 50 miles west of Groton. So they're all in like a few hours of each other, like driving. March 26th, that's when Michelle was found. She's a 56 or was 56. She was found on March 26th, 8 months after she disappeared. And investigators began looking into suspicious circumstances surrounding her death. And a resident said his dog's been acting strange when he comes out there. He's always sniffing around over there. I don't know how long the body's been there, but he would pick up on it. And he didn't say anything. April 9th is Killingly, Connecticut, and that is an unnamed, no information on gender or age. Last week, unidentified human remains were found in Killingly, the Connecticut State Police said. Early stages remains active and ongoing. No information at this time suggesting any connection to similar remains. So that's kind of the timeline of those and how that happened. Have you heard about the guys that would park at the rest area and shoot out of their car trunks? Was that the son and the dad? I remember the son and the dad that would shoot on the highways and stuff, but I don't know if that's the same case or not. But yeah, so this is definitely ongoing. I'm curious to see if they will be finding any more remains. So, it's so sad. Such a sad. It's sad anytime anybody passes away, but all of these remains being found and all in the same vicinity, I just pray that there's not. I mean, again, serial killer or not, it's bad. But I pray that. Well, I can't even say that. I don't know. I just pray that everybody is found safe that's missing. But sadly, that's usually not the case. My boy, when we were kids, went home and found his mom with, oh, Jesus. That's sad. Yeah, definitely stick together, Mel, for sure. For sure. But I'll definitely be the DC sniper. Oh, I'm always trying to solve true crime stories, but I don't know about this one. Sounds like a serial killer. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Maurice. And there's like not much information. All we know so far, I mean, just like the other remains, some of them, they're unnamed. They don't even tell, they don't even know gender yet, nothing. They're just trying to go off of what they have. And we don't know what stage of if they can even get DNA from some of this stuff or if they can. Hopefully that they can. I mean, obviously they identified 3 women, but there's four sets of remains left because there's 7 total. So, yes, karma. I pray everybody's safe. The sniper was the scariest time here in the DMV. I bet. Passed away at 36 and she had gastric bypass surgery. I lost from 382 to 252 and the autopsy said severe morbid obesity, Delaware. I'm so sorry, Barbara. Oh, I bet, Eureka. I knew Michelle Romano. We met through a mutual friend. Oh, I'm so sorry, Roberta. I'm sorry for your loss. My first place I was 17, and every morning there was, oh, wow, Karma. I got my first place at 17 as well, but I can't say the same about that. That's scary. Sounds like the Popo could be withholding evidence from the public. Oh, I'm sure, Lita. I think I think they try to do that always, like withhold info. And that way, if they find someone who's guilty and they give out info that nobody else knew, then they can clearly say, because sadly, some people will confess to this stuff, even though they didn't do it. So yeah, they definitely hold info. But I think, obviously, I think they're going to release more and more because I feel like the public is going to be, regardless of whether they say it's a serial killer or not, you have all these remains popping up. And if they're all considered foul play, and that's what I'm interested in, if they're going, because obviously the three women that they found, clearly foul play somewhere. They were reported missing, and then their remains were found. Now, the one girl had just been reported missing, and they found her, and the other women had been missing for months, one for 8 months, one since September. So, mm, yeah, we are. We're just about done until later. But I thank you guys so much for joining me for True Crime Tuesday. And we will be learning more about this case. And hopefully, they find some more answers for families, and the other 4 remains will be identified. And I, pray there's no more remains found. Um, you know, it's so sad. So, but if you guys see anything about this case or any updates, let me know just in case I missed something. Also, the NICU nurse, I'm curious to see how that goes now that she's been charged with more charges. And also, um, Theodore Theodore Lloyd, who, has just been charged with attempted arson after they found his 70-year-old mother dismembered into 14 trash bags and the house almost burnt down. Also, we're going to see if he's going to get charged with murder or more than just attempted arson. So definitely stay tuned for those updates so the people in these cases can get justice. So thank you guys so much for joining me, and I will see you again next Tuesday for True Crime Tuesday. You guys have a great night, and I will see you in about 45 minutes for True Crime. I'll see you in about 45 minutes for the Malarkey. I hope to see you there. Bye. See you next Tuesday.